Sunny Hostin breaks down as she faces the intense fallout from her husband's involvement in a shocking $450 million RICO lawsuit. As a prominent advocate for justice and accountability, Sunny has been forced to confront a personal scandal that hits closer to home than ever before. With the legal drama unfolding in the public eye, viewers are left wondering how this controversy will affect her reputation and her unwavering stance on holding powerful figures accountable. Don't miss the raw emotions and powerful moments as Sunny grapples with the reality of her family's legal troubles. But before we dive in, comment below where you are watching us from, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Sunny Hostin, a passionate advocate for justice and co-host of The View, now finds herself entangled in a major controversy that threatens both her family's reputation and her own credibility. Known for her bold stances on political corruption and systemic inequality, Hostin is now facing scrutiny due to a massive $450 million lawsuit involving her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, a respected orthopedic surgeon. The lawsuit accuses Dr. Hostin of participating in a widespread insurance fraud scheme involving kickbacks and unnecessary medical procedures, casting a shadow over Sunny's public image. The lawsuit alleges that Dr. Hostin was involved in fraudulent medical billing practices, performing unnecessary surgeries on patients with minor injuries and bypassing less invasive treatments like physical therapy. This legal action, one of New York's largest RICO cases, includes nearly 200 defendants and claims that doctors, including Dr. Hostin, received kickbacks from surgery centers in exchange for patient referrals. This system of financial incentives allegedly put patients at risk while significantly inflating healthcare costs. If proven true, these actions not only endangered patients but also contributed to rising insurance premiums, burdening everyday Americans. Dr. Hostin's attorney, Daniel Twitt, has strongly denied the allegations, labeling the lawsuit a meritless attempt by a struggling insurance company to intimidate physicians and limit healthcare benefits. He argues that the accusations are a strategy to avoid paying legitimate claims, blaming systemic issues in the healthcare industry. Sunny Hostin has echoed this defense, suggesting on The View that her husband was simply fighting to be compensated for his medical services, especially in cases where patients lacked insurance. She framed the lawsuit as an overreach by an insurance company desperate to cut costs. However, this defense has sparked criticism. Many question whether Sunny's public support for her husband contradicts her vocal advocacy for justice and accountability. Critics argue that her unwavering stance on transparency seems compromised when it involves her own family. This situation raises a deeper concern about potential double standards. How can someone so outspoken against corruption defend practices that may exploit vulnerable patients and manipulate the healthcare system? The lawsuit also exposes systemic flaws within the healthcare and insurance industries. Allegations of exaggerated patient injuries and financial kickbacks highlight how some medical professionals and institutions may prioritize profits over patient well-being. These schemes not only harm patients but also inflate healthcare costs nationwide, creating broader economic consequences. With $450 million in damages at stake, the case sheds light on the complex relationship between healthcare providers and insurance companies, raising questions about how widespread such fraudulent practices might be. Public trust in the healthcare system is already fragile, with only about 31% of Americans expressing confidence in it. This scandal risks further eroding that trust, especially as it implicates a high-profile figure like Dr. Hostin. Sunny Hostin's defense of her husband may seem heartfelt, but it unintentionally appears to support questionable practices that could harm patients and the healthcare system as a whole. Sunny's role as a public figure intensifies the controversy. Her platform on The View allows her to influence public opinion, and her vocal defense of her husband has led some to question whether she is using her influence to sway perception. While she frames the lawsuit as a financial attack on her husband by an insurance company, critics argue that this perspective overlooks the serious ethical concerns surrounding the allegations. This situation has also sparked a broader debate about accountability and personal responsibility for public figures. Should Sunny Hostin be held to the same standards she demands from others? Can she remain a credible advocate for justice while defending her husband against claims of fraud? These questions are central to the public's reaction and could have lasting implications for her career and reputation. Adding complexity to the issue is the scale of the alleged fraud. The lawsuit suggests a deeply rooted problem within the healthcare industry, where financial incentives can compromise medical ethics. If doctors are financially rewarded for recommending unnecessary surgeries, patient safety and trust are at serious risk. This case could become a turning point, prompting industry-wide reforms and greater scrutiny of financial relationships between medical professionals and healthcare facilities. For Sunny Hostin, the fallout from this lawsuit could be significant. Her reputation as a champion for justice may suffer if the public perceives her defense of her husband as hypocritical. The case forces her to confront a difficult balance between personal loyalty and public accountability. Whether she can maintain her credibility while navigating this legal battle remains to be seen. Ultimately, this controversy highlights the complex intersection of personal loyalty, public responsibility, and professional ethics. Sunny Hostin's vocal defense of her husband raises difficult questions about integrity and accountability, especially for public figures who advocate for justice. As the lawsuit progresses, the outcome could have far-reaching consequences, not just for the Hostin family, but also for the broader healthcare industry and public trust in media figures who hold others accountable. The case continues to unfold, and all eyes are on Sunny Hostin and her husband. The public is left to wonder whether the justice Sunny so passionately defends on The View will extend to her personal life, or if this situation will reveal troubling double standards. One thing is certain: this story is far from over, and it's forcing a national conversation about integrity, trust, and accountability in both healthcare and media. Sunny Hostin, co-host of The View, has always positioned herself as a strong advocate for justice, transparency, and moral integrity, often using her platform to speak out against corporate greed, political corruption, and the ethical failings of powerful figures. She has been especially vocal in condemning conservative politicians, such as Matt Gaetz and Donald Trump, holding them accountable for their actions. However, her response to her husband's current legal troubles has raised significant questions about her principles, causing critics to accuse her of hypocrisy. Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and Sunny's husband, is embroiled in a massive $450 million RICO lawsuit. The allegations against him are serious, accusing him of being part of a large insurance fraud scheme that involved performing unnecessary surgeries on patients with minor injuries in exchange for kickbacks. The lawsuit alleges that he and nearly 200 other defendants participated in fraudulent billing practices, driving up healthcare costs and exposing patients to unnecessary medical procedures. The case has shaken both the healthcare industry and Sunny's public image. While Sunny has been quick to call out others for ethical lapses and corruption, her response to the allegations against her husband has been noticeably different. Instead of confronting the charges head-on, she has been relatively muted in her comments and, in some cases, has defended the healthcare system her husband is accused of exploiting. This has led many to question whether Sunny's commitment to justice extends beyond her public stances on politics and social issues, or whether it is limited to attacking others. Sunny's track record of moral lecturing on The View now stands in stark contrast to the legal troubles surrounding her own family. She has spent years criticizing the so-called elite establishment, accusing them of evading accountability. Yet, in the case of her husband's alleged actions, she has not been as vocal or forceful in her condemnation. Critics have pointed out that if someone like Sunny truly believes in justice, it would be expected that she hold her own family accountable in the same way she demands accountability from others. The controversy has taken a larger turn when considering the media's response to the scandal. Despite the seriousness of the allegations, mainstream media coverage of the Hostin lawsuit has been surprisingly sparse. In contrast, conservative figures often face intense media scrutiny, regardless of whether allegations against them are proven. This discrepancy has led to accusations of media bias, with some people suggesting that those with liberal political leanings or celebrity status are given more favorable treatment and shielded from the same level of scrutiny that others, particularly conservatives, face. Dr. Hostin's involvement in what is considered one of the largest RICO cases in New York's history, larger than some infamous mafia cases, has added to the gravity of the situation. The lawsuit claims that Dr. Hostin was performing unnecessary surgeries on patients and providing fraudulent medical services to insurance companies, resulting in a significant financial scheme. These actions allegedly involved people from a range of professions, including Uber and Lyft drivers, highlighting the widespread impact of the fraud. The relative silence surrounding the case and the lack of widespread media coverage suggests a larger issue of privilege within the media and political world. Public figures with significant influence or connections often avoid the intense scrutiny faced by others. This discrepancy highlights the troubling reality that those in positions of power are often treated with a different set of standards, particularly when their personal interests are at stake. This situation presents a stark contrast between Sunny's public persona as a champion of justice and the private reality of her family's legal troubles. While she has consistently called for transparency, accountability, and fairness in the political and social arenas, her reluctance to directly confront the scandal surrounding her husband raises important questions about the consistency of her commitment to those same principles. As this controversy continues to unfold, it forces us to ask whether public figures like Sunny Hostin are truly dedicated to the causes they espouse, or if their moral posturing is convenient when it serves their agenda. Does her call for justice only apply when it involves others, or is she willing to hold her own loved ones accountable as well? As the lawsuit progresses, many are left wondering if public figures, when faced with personal dilemmas, can truly be trusted to uphold the values they promote to the public. The situation highlights the potential double standards that exist in both media and politics, raising uncomfortable questions about the authenticity of those who claim to champion moral causes. It also forces us to question whether personal interests can compromise the integrity of the individuals who are supposed to be moral leaders. The public's perception of Sunny's defense of her husband will likely continue to evolve, but for now, the allegations against Dr. Hostin have raised serious doubts about the consistency of Sunny's calls for justice. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a beat. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.